This show is part of OnePlace, a daily network of focused briefings across the stories people follow most.
Welcome to the show. We have a packed lineup today covering everything from historic baseball streaks to high-stakes draft rumors and intense playoff action. Let's get right into the headlines.
Shohei Ohtani ties a historic 52-game on-base streak.
Jeremiah Love is climbing the NFL draft boards quickly.
New NFL mock drafts reveal intriguing veteran player comparisons.
Leicester City faces a potential second consecutive league relegation.
Jordan Martinook finds redemption in a thrilling overtime win.
Kasperi Kapanen leads the Oilers to a playoff victory.
The Hawks stun the Knicks in a Garden comeback.
Dan Vladar shuts out the Penguins for the Flyers.
Starting with baseball's biggest star, Shohei Ohtani is once again rewriting the history books, this time with an incredible on-base streak that has reached 52 consecutive games. This run, which actually began back in August of 2025, reached the 52-game milestone after Ohtani singled off Jose Quintana during a matchup against the Rockies. To put this in perspective, only 48 players in the entire history of Major League Baseball had ever managed a streak of 50 games or more before the 2026 season began. By reaching 52, Ohtani has tied himself with Shin Soo-choo, who was the last player to hit that 50-game mark. He is now sharing space on the leaderboard with legendary Hall of Famers like Joe DiMaggio, Ty Cobb, and Lou Gehrig. It is just another reminder of how consistently dominant he is at the plate.
The numbers during this stretch are absolutely staggering. Since the streak started, Ohtani has posted a slash line of 281/399/597. He has collected 55 hits, including 16 home runs, and has shown incredible discipline with 37 walks and 8 intentional free passes. He is currently tied for the 28th longest streak in MLB history, but he is on the verge of climbing much higher. If he can reach 53 games, he moves into the top 25, tying Alex Rodriguez. If he hits 57, he enters the all-time top 10. However, the mountain gets much steeper at the very top. He is still a long way from Ted Williams's absurd 84-game streak from 1949 or DiMaggio's 74-game run in 1941. Still, the fact that we are even discussing these names in the same sentence as Ohtani shows the historic pace he is maintaining.
Moving to the gridiron buzz, the 2026 NFL Draft is rapidly approaching, and the rumors are starting to swirl around Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love. While he might not be the number 1 overall pick, there is significant chatter that he could go as high as number 3 to the Arizona Cardinals. This would be a massive statement, making him the highest drafted running back since Saquon Barkley went 2nd overall back in 2018. Analysts like Joel Klatt are pointing out that while many expect the Cardinals to focus on the defensive edge, the intel suggests they are enamored with Love's versatility. He is viewed by many as the best non-quarterback prospect in the entire class, offering a unique blend of power between the tackles and the ability to line up as a slot receiver. It would be a bold first move for new head coach Mike LaFleur.
Arizona's position at number 3 is really the pivot point for the early part of the draft. They are reportedly still open to trading out of that spot to accumulate more assets, but if they stay put, Love is the name to watch. Interestingly, the Cardinals are also linked to Ty Simpson, though the 3rd pick is considered too high for him. This has led to speculation that Arizona might take Love early and then look for a way to move back into the 1st round later to snag Simpson. Meanwhile, the Kansas City Chiefs are also making noise, potentially looking to move up from the 9th spot. They have reportedly had discussions with both Arizona and Tennessee about a blockbuster trade. The draft day maneuvering is clearly heating up as teams try to position themselves for these elite offensive playmakers like Jeremiah Love.
Next, looking at player comparisons. As we dive deeper into the 2026 draft class, the player comparisons are helping fans visualize what these prospects might bring to the pro level. For instance, the Las Vegas Raiders are looking at quarterback Fernando Mendoza from Indiana, who is being compared to elite pocket passers like Matt Ryan and Joe Burrow. He has the size and the arm talent that teams crave. On the defensive side, the New York Jets are eyeing David Bailey, an edge rusher from Texas Tech. His potential is being likened to Will Anderson Jr., with the added athleticism of someone like Brian Burns. These comparisons aren't just hype. They provide a roadmap for how these teams plan to utilize their new assets. Seeing a linebacker like Arvel Reese compared to Micah Parsons gives you an idea of the versatile, devastating pass-rushing role the Cardinals might have in mind for him.
The skill positions are equally interesting. The Tennessee Titans are looking at wide receiver Carnell Tate, who is being described as a mix of Mike Evans and George Pickens. That combination of size and field-stretching ability would be a dream for a young quarterback like Cam Ward. Then you have the New York Giants, who seem to be leaning toward Jeremiah Love. Their vision for him is fascinating, with comparisons ranging from the raw power of Derrick Henry to the explosive speed of Bijan Robinson or Jamal Charles. Coach John Harbaugh reportedly sees Love as a foundational piece who can help Jackson Dart thrive in a dual-threat system similar to what we saw in Baltimore. These comparisons highlight the high ceiling for this year's first-round talent, suggesting that several teams are looking for players who can redefine their offensive or defensive identities immediately.
Now to English football's struggle. It is truly hard to believe that just 10 years ago, Leicester City pulled off the greatest underdog story in sports history by winning the Premier League at 5-0-0-0-2-1 odds. Today, the Foxes are facing a much darker reality. After being relegated from the top flight last season, they are now on the verge of dropping even further into League One, the third tier of English football. A recent defeat to Hull City has put them in a position where their fate is nearly sealed. This would be only the second time in the club's 142-year history that they have fallen this low. It is a staggering decline for a team that was once the toast of the footballing world. The pillars that were put in place during their rise, like the scouting of Jamie Vardy and Riyad Mahrez, seem like a lifetime ago as the club struggles with its current identity.
The fall is especially painful when you remember how dominant they were during their previous stint in the lower leagues. Back in 2008, they set club records for points and wins to secure an immediate return to the championship. They built a culture of resilience that eventually led to that historic 2016 title. But this time feels different. The financial and structural pressures of modern football have made it much harder to bounce back. The anniversary of their Premier League triumph is approaching, but instead of a celebration, the fans are bracing for the ignominy of back-to-back relegations. It serves as a cautionary tale of how quickly fortunes can change in professional sports. From the peak of the Premier League trophy to the threat of the third tier in just a decade is a trajectory that few could have ever predicted for the Foxes.
Shifting to NHL playoff drama. The Carolina Hurricanes took a 200-series lead over the Ottawa Senators, but the path to victory was anything but simple. In a game defined by emotional swings, Jordan Martinook emerged as the hero in double overtime. The drama peaked when the Hurricanes thought they had won it on a goal by Mark Jankowski, only for the play to be overturned after a 5-minute offside review. Because a penalty was called on the same play, Martinook was awarded a rare overtime penalty shot. The crowd was electric, but Ottawa's Linus Ullmark made a huge save to keep the game going. Martinook admitted he felt terrible after missing that chance, even wishing they had just taken a power play instead. It was a high-pressure moment that could have easily broken a player's confidence, especially with the game on the line in the postseason.
However, hockey has a way of providing second chances. Nearly a full overtime period later, Martinook found himself in the slot again. This time, he didn't miss, firing the puck past Ullmark to secure the 3-2 win. It was his first career playoff overtime winner, and it provided the ultimate redemption after the earlier penalty shot frustration. The Hurricanes had blown a 2-0 lead earlier in the game, so the victory was a testament to their mental toughness. Martinook's goal ended a marathon night at the Lenovo Center and sent the series to Ottawa with Carolina firmly in control. The game was a perfect example of the thin margins in playoff hockey, where a single offside call or a missed penalty shot can change everything, but persistence eventually paid off for the Hurricanes and their alternate captain.
Next, the Oilers' playoff opener. In Edmonton, the Oilers kicked off their playoff series against the Anaheim Ducks with a thrilling 4-3 victory. The star of the night was Kasperi Kapanen, who scored twice, including the game winner with just under 2 minutes left in regulation. It was a back-and-forth affair that saw the Oilers jump out to a 2-0 lead, only to watch the Ducks storm back to take a 3-2 lead into the third period. The return of Leon Draisaitl was a huge boost for Edmonton. He had missed the final 14 games of the regular season, but looked sharp, picking up 2 assists. Interestingly, Connor McDavid was held without a point, but the Oilers' depth players stepped up when it mattered most. Jason Dickinson also had a massive night, scoring 2 goals to help Edmonton overcome the Ducks' resilient comeback attempt.
The Ducks showed they aren't going to be an easy out. Despite this being their first playoff appearance since 2018, Troy Terry was sensational, scoring 2 goals and adding an assist in his playoff debut. Anaheim led the league in comeback wins this season, and they almost pulled off another one here. However, the Oilers' experience showed in the final frame. Vasily Podkolzin made a brilliant backhand pass to set up Kapanen's late heroics, and goalie Connor Ingram made a spectacular save in the closing seconds to preserve the win. Edmonton is looking for their 3rd straight trip to the Stanley Cup final. And while this opener was closer than they might have liked, getting the win without a point from McDavid is actually a positive sign for their overall team depth. Game 2 stays in Edmonton on Wednesday.
Now, to the NBA upset. The Atlanta Hawks pulled off a stunning upset at Madison Square Garden, defeating the New York Knicks 107-106 to even their series. This was a game the Knicks seemingly had under control, leading by 12 points at the start of the 4th quarter. The Hawks only held the lead for a total of 85 seconds the entire night, but they led when it counted. Veteran C.J. McCollum was the hero, embracing his role as the villain in front of a hostile New York crowd. He dropped 32 points, including a difficult fadeaway jumper over OG Anunoby, with 33 seconds left that proved to be the game winner. Despite the Knicks' defensive focus on Jalen Johnson and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, the Hawks found a way to grind out a win on a night when they shot poorly from beyond the arc.
The atmosphere in the Hawks' locker room afterward was one of relief and quiet confidence. General manager Onsi Saleh noted that his heart rate needed time to recover, but they were happy to steal one on the road. The Knicks utilized Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges to frustrate Atlanta's primary scorers, but the veteran presence of McCollum was the difference maker. The question now is whether the Hawks can sustain this momentum as the series shifts. They proved they can win even when their stars aren't putting up explosive numbers, thanks to their defensive grit and timely shot-making. For the Knicks, this is a devastating loss after controlling the pace for nearly 40 minutes. They now have to find a way to regain their composure and respond to the Hawks' late-game surge as the pressure shifts back to them.
Finally, the Flyers' dominant performance. The Philadelphia Flyers have taken a commanding 2-0 lead in their series against the Pittsburgh Penguins after a 3-0 shutout victory. Goaltender Dan Vladar was the story of the night, stopping all 27 shots he faced to frustrate Sidney Crosby and the Penguins' offense. The Flyers, who had to go on a massive run just to qualify for the postseason, are playing with incredible confidence right now. Rookie Porter Martone continued his dream start to the playoffs, scoring for the 2nd straight game. At just 19 years old, he became the 6th youngest player in NHL history to score in each of his first 2 playoff games. His goal late in the 2nd period broke the deadlock and gave Philadelphia the momentum they needed to pull away. It was a clinical performance from a team that looks very dangerous.
The Penguins are suddenly facing an offensive crisis, unable to find the back of the net against a disciplined Flyers defense. After Martone's opener, Garnet Hathaway added a short-handed goal that really deflated the Pittsburgh crowd. Luke Glendening eventually sealed the win with an empty netter. The series now moves to Philadelphia for Game 3. Where the Flyers will have a chance to put a stranglehold on their rivals. Pittsburgh's veteran core is under immense pressure to find answers quickly, as they have struggled to generate high-quality chances against Vladar. Meanwhile, the Flyers are getting contributions from across their lineup, blending veteran grit with the youthful energy of players like Martone. If they can maintain this level of defensive intensity at home, the Penguins are going to be in a very deep hole very soon.
That wraps up our briefing for today. Thanks for joining us for this rundown of the day's biggest stories. We will be back tomorrow with more updates and analysis.